I'm going to admit, I've always thought of a few things when it comes to the Toyota Highlander. Durability, dependability, comfort, good features. But one thing I've never thought of, one thing that's never even crossed my mind when it comes to discussing or thinking about the Toyota Highlander is excitement, both in the driver kind of engagement sense or the stylistic sense. It's a very dependable vehicle, it sells incredibly well, but that does not necessarily an exciting car make. Now for 2020, there's a new one, and there's a new trim. It's called the Platinum, and it's here, I think, to kind of see if it can shirk those biases against it that people like me have had for quite some time. Let's see if the new 2020 Toyota Highlander Platinum can walk the walk. I'll be the first to admit, when it came time to test the Highlander, I was like, all right, let's have a look at this, couch on wheels, see what it's all about in 2020. But I undersold it. It's actually really, really nice in here. It's nice in here. This is the Platinum version, so I've got this great brown leather up here, beige leather here. You got some black leather in here too, but it all kind of flows together nicely. I think they actually call it caramel, which I'm down with. It's really, really nice in here. I love this display here. It's kind of faux aluminum here too. It's all so tastefully done. It's very Lexus-like, as a matter of fact, very Lexus-like. So, and of course, space is great. Footwell is big, shoulder room, hip room, all that kind of stuff. I feel like I've got like 10 feet across here, which is fantastic. Lots of room, comfortable seat. Although, and I'll have another look at this once we start driving. These armrests feel uneven to me. I feel like this is higher than this one is. So I'll look more closely at that as we drive, see how it affects me. But this is nice. The driving position is fine. Good view out all around. You could spend a lot of time in this vehicle, and of course, this being a 3-row SUV, it is a very, very fine, very important to be a good road trip vehicle, and this one, definitely, I can imagine it definitely being so. A couple of strange quirks I don't love. This door here, this door card, or this door handle is super loose. I don't know if you can see that there, but it's incredibly loose. I don't know why it's not bound on there better. And the door close, there's a little bit of vibration there. It's not the not the kind of sincere kind of thunk that you get from some more luxurious cars. So all that's kind of got my attention a bit, but mostly in here it's right on. Let's have a look at the back seat. Of course, what I should have said, let's have a look at the second row of seating, because there is 3 rows in this. It's nice back here. This is, again, I'm sitting a little bit higher in the back than I am at the front, which is what you want, because you want to be able to see over the driver's shoulders. So that's great. My knees are not up too high, which is nice. They're not jammed up against the back of the seat back. which is fine. Armrest here, right there. These ones feel level. These ones don't. These ones do. So weird, you know. Privacy screen. Really, really nice back. But again, loose door handle there. I don't understand that. Cup holders here. This is the platinum version, which means I have heated rear seats and I have a USB port back here. But that's the only way you can get it in the hybrid or in the Highlander for 2020. I believe same goes for cooled seats too up front. To have to go all the way to the top trim to get that is a strange. That's an oversight, in my opinion. So many vehicles in this segment in Canada have heated steering wheels and heated seats, both front and back, almost from base. Maybe not back from base, but front for sure, and sometimes heated steering wheels as well. In fact, there are some smaller vehicles, little compact sedans and hatches that have heated steering wheel at base in Canada. To not have that is a really strange decision. The back seat's perfectly usable though. The ISO anchors down here, or the latch anchors down here are placed so they are very shallow, very easy to clip to onto the third row. Ooh. So as you can probably tell by that somewhat inelegant clamber back here, this is definitely a third row seat. I wouldn't subject my adult sized friends to sit back here for long drives. My knees are pretty much in my chest. My head's right up against the headliner, and seat's quite firm. So this is a small seating area reserved for the kiddies. I came through between the two seats. You can, because I have the captain's chairs, there's also a second row bench seat option, in which case you could fit 8 people here instead of 7. But I came through the center because I found coming through the side by sliding chair forward was actually tougher. I found it easier to come through the center, even though I've got to hop over and kind of make my way over these cup holders like a mountain goat. So there's that to keep in mind. Also, of course, if you have baby seats installed in these two seats, you can't flip them forward. Some 3-row SUVs have a tilt and slide feature, which lets you to keep the baby seat in there and still kind of get in, but this one doesn't really have that, so you kind of got to come up to the middle if you have 2 baby seats installed. So I want to keep that in mind as well. But I've got 4 cup holders back here, even though I was only seating for 3. Okay. No USB ports. Not a surprise that there's no USB ports in the third row, although some vehicles do have that. But this is one seat you're going to want to reserve for the kiddies. So when it comes to the kind of the dash of the Highlander, it's all about that massive 12.3 inch infotainment display. 8.0 inch display is standard, but this one is huge. It's got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto support, of course, and it's got kind of these, like, it's sort of tiered. You can kind of, if you want your climate control screen, for example, facing your passenger, you can do that. You can swipe it that way now, swipe it that way. Now the driver gets a look at it. So it's got kind of some smooth features. And I've always kind of derided, me and a lot of my colleagues actually derided the infotainment in Toyota, but this one's actually pretty smooth. It's loaded all my all my Google Play playlists, no problem. Can't always be said for that app, which is great. It's responsive. There's some weird quirks, like you can kind of see that it's not, that there's still like a straight edge there. It's kind of hard to tell in the video, but you can tell this isn't actually a round screen. It's just a graphic on top of a square pane. So kind of the weird side. It looks even more kind of present on when you've got Apple CarPlay going, which is, I know it's weird for me to mention that, but just kind of got my eye and I can't not see it now, which is kind of interesting. But this is huge. These buttons are nice and big, easy to control with gloves on, easy to see when you're driving. No problem. Storage under here, great for glasses, and of course you've got the glasses holder up there too, and you've got the back seat viewer there too, which lets you see your kid back there, make sure they're not picking their nose or what have you. And so that's fantastic. You can see the video rear view mirror there. We'll talk more about that on the drive portion, but essentially it's here because this way, no matter who's sitting in the back seat or how high you've loaded your luggage, you have the same view out all the time. And also, while there's memory seats, the memory doesn't attach a rear view mirror. It never has any car I've ever driven. You get, sometimes the side view mirrors are attached to the memory seats, but this one, it doesn't matter because you always have the same view out. So this mirror could be at any angle, makes no difference. You'll always see the same thing. So all you gotta do is angle it towards you a little bit so you can see it as best as possible. So I actually kind of like it. We'll talk more about it on the road afterwards. So nice interior, it's roomy, JBL audio is good, platinum spec gets you all this great leather, which we talked about before. I've got all the driving assist systems, lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, I've got blind spot assist system, I've got forward collision alert, automatic braking, pedestrian detection, loaded for all that. And what I really like is you just hit that button, and that turns off your lane keep assist system, because on this car, it gets to be a little bit finicky. It's a little bit overly sensitive, I find, so I tend to turn it off, actually. But it's also got steer back on center, so if I'm driving and I'm coming out of the lane, the wheel will steer me back on automatically. So it's nice, heated and cooled seats up the front. So it's nice. It's nice up here, and it's easy to deal with. You have a bunch of buttons down here too, which you can't really see. If I tilt it, you can. So these buttons here for your all-wheel drive system, your various drive modes, all easily accessible and well placed, so you don't have to spend time hunting for them. Big fan of the backup cam in the Highlander. For stars, you got that great big widescreen display. Activate reverse, you got the dual pane view, kind of like this is the more kind of fisheye view. You've also got the top down view, which makes lining up the vehicle that much easier in like stall parking, for example. Or you've got the more kind of narrow view there as well. And if you want, you select drive. Now you've got a forward facing view as well, which also keeps the top down view, because that's important both forward and backward. And then this way here, you can just have that much better of a look of the bumper of the vehicle ahead of you. Makes parking the Highlander much easier for sure. So there's no hat, because as I explained in the previous shots, I mean, the blandness I kind of always associated with the Highlander kind of precluded me from coming up with enough of an imagination to think of which one of my hats could metaphorically fit the Highlander. I couldn't, so I thought it'd be a better idea to just forget it. Same goes for the gray shirt, or the gray jacket, black shirt, gray pants. You know, let's just keep it tame like the Highlander is. But I was wrong, as I admitted in the last shots. There's lots to like here. I love this interior. The infotainment system has its quirks still, but I think it's cool, and this huge screen and stuff. And even now that I'm driving, I don't find it to be distracting. I rather like it. So it's nice. And while I'm on this, I should speak about the exterior styling as well. The Highlander, when it was redesigned for the last generation, it kind of has to be credited for kind of ushering in a new era of design for Toyota. It had these great slim headlamps, kind of a blacked out grille, looked really cool. And now Toyota's making some of the cooler looking cars out there. The Toyota Corolla hatch looks cool. The CHR is a cool little crossover sport car coupe thing, whatever you want to call it. That's cool. The RAV4, even with its squared off fenders it has now, is a cool looking car. The 4Runner doesn't look that different than it's looked for the last 10 years, but still looks cool. So and the Highlander needs to be kind of given some credit for that. And now for 2020 and the redesign, they've taken it to the next level. They've given it an even more aggressive front end. They've given it kind of quasi fender flares too, and they're not really fender flares. They've put some stamping on the doors to make it look like it has flared fenders, and I think it's cool. I've seen some journalists complain about that. I think it's too much. I disagree. I think it's kind of a nice touch to the Highlander, which has always had these kind of broad, slabby sides, and Toyota obviously likes it too, because the new Sienna minivan that was recently announced kind of has a similar treatment done to its exterior styling as well. So obviously they feel like they're onto something with this look. So how does it drive? Does it drive as granola as I thought it always would? Well, not entirely. I mean, this is the Platinum version, which is very luxurious. It's priced as such, and it drives nicely for that. With the switch to the TNGA platform, which underpins everything from the Corolla to the Camry to the RAV4, which now underpins the Highlander. It's got a lower center of gravity, so you've got better handling, less body roll through the turns. Very important for passenger and occupant comfort. And you've got a nice naturally aspirated V6, good for 295 horsepower and 263 pound-feet of torque, which is fed to all four wheels. And I think in Canada only the all four. I don't think any front-wheel drive versions are offered. I know there's no front-wheel drive version of the hybrid version. There might be a front-wheel drive version of the non-hybrid Highlander, but that'll pop up on the screen whether there is or there isn't right now after I check on it. But so it's fed to all three wheels, the 8-speed automatic, no paddle shifters, no surprise there, save the money, don't bother spending it on that. But I do have a manual mode by slapping the gear lever to the left if I want to use that, which I think I probably never, ever will. Maybe some adverse conditions you want some more control over your powertrain, and that's just fine. So it's not a turbocharged motor, as some of its competition is doing. The Subaru Ascent, Ford Explorer, Mazda CX-9 all have turbocharged engines, some 4-cylinder, some 6-cylinder. So that seems to be a bit of a sea change going on in the 3-row mid-sized crossover segment. And I'm on the fence whether I'd rather have the smooth pulling power from kind of zero as the V6 gets, as a naturally aspirated V6 rather gets, or do I want kind of the more punchy low end that's a little peaky with that the turbocharged engine gets, and that really is going to be some of you. It really is up to the driver how they like their vehicle to feel, and so luckily there's it's almost a half and half split now with regards to the competition. With regards to the Highlander's competition as to what kind of powertrain you have. But this engine is smooth. Power is developed nicely from low revs. Passing at highway speeds is not a problem. It's not exactly zippy from go. 0 to 100 km an hour happens in like 7.8 seconds or something like that. You'll call it 8, whatever. So it's not exactly like quickly accelerating, but you don't need that. You just need a competent, smoothly for this segment, basically, a competent, smooth accelerating vehicle that can make highway passes, can get you on the highway from an entry ramp without causing your kind of the hairs on the back of your neck to rise, and so on. So and this has all of that. It's got the great body roll control thanks to that suspension. Steering has a little bit of weight to it, a little bit of substance there, which I like. It's still kind of one finger light. You can still get by just turning it with a single finger. I don't recommend you do that, but you can. But there's a little bit of substance there to kind of feel like you're actually doing something, and there's actually a steering rack ahead of you. It's an axle. So that's fine too. And then there's the ride, which, as the Platinum name suggests, should be good, and it is a smooth riding vehicle. In addition to the body roll, the damper settings are good. Bumps don't upset things too much. I'm not getting any cowl shake here, although I was having some heavy bass recently, and I did see my rear view mirrors shake because of that. So there is that. But it's mostly a comfortable car, except for what this armrest situation seems like they are uneven to me. I mentioned that when I first sat in it earlier in this video, and it seems that now that I'm on the road, I definitely feel like the left side is lower than the front, so I'm having to put my arm up here, which I don't like having to either. It makes my shoulder kind of sore. So I don't. That seems the ergonomics there are kind of weird. Right. Driver aids. Gotta talk about driver aids when it comes to vehicles like this. We talked about the backup cam before, which is great. I mentioned the features this has. It's got pretty much everything you need. The lane keep assist is great. It's an active system, so if you are steering offline, it will steer you back online. And that's fine. People like that. But if you don't, just press a button and it turns the system off completely, which is actually really kind of nice to have, because those systems can be very kind of hit and miss. And of course, you can just leave it as an alert or as an actual kind of intervention kind of situation as well. And there's lane centering too, so it keeps you on a line down the middle of the lane, which is really great, which I love. I talked a little about the digital rearview mirror before. These things to be popping up everywhere. It started with Cadillac and GM. Some Range Rover and Land Rover products now have it. Now you can see it here in the Toyota. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's taken me a while, but I like it. It does. I always have the same view out back that I no matter what's in the back seat or in the trunk, I'm going to have the same view out back. Yes, when it rains, there can be some distortion on there, as I was experiencing earlier. And yes, it takes a little bit of time for the muscle memory, I guess, around your eyes, or your eyes' ability to focus. It takes them some time to get used to focusing on the focal point, I should say, on a digital rearview mirror, because it's a lot closer than it normally is. Usually you're looking at a rearview mirror and you're looking all the way through the car, over the road behind it, and then to the car behind you. But now it's right at the back of the car and you're looking at the car behind you, so it takes your eyes some time to adjust, but it happens pretty quickly, because this is the first time with one of these mirrors where it's taken me maybe 3 minutes to get used to it. Now it seems completely natural. So I'm a big fan of this digital rearview mirror, and I'm going to probably leave it on it you can change it by just flipping which is usually the dimmer. You can flip that and now it becomes a standard rearview mirror if you want to be able to see your kids in the back. But you don't really need to do that, because, as I explained before, there's a mirror mounted in the sunglass holder, so you can see your kids in the back without having to use the mirror to do it, and it's an even better view than you get with a mirror. So it's kind of got all those bases covered, and I'm a fan. So driver aids here, pretty good. Otherwise, the seat is comfortable. It's still kind of, when you want to, it rides like a couch, kind of like the Highlander couch on wheels always has ridden, and that's fine, because that's what you're looking for in a vehicle like this. I mean, it's a rainy August day just outside of Vancouver. Yes, we get rain in August too. That's all we have to say about that. Very funny, rest of Canada. Anyway, it's a rainy August day. I'm on the highway. but I'm comfortable, I'm at ease, and this is exactly what this vehicle is all about. It's meant to ferry you from A to B, you and your family, you and either 6 or 7 other people, from A to B, comfortably and with ease, and it definitely does that. There's a reason why it's such a big seller. Best-selling vehicle in its segment in the US last year, which leads me to believe it's probably a similar story in Canada. Then again, we do like our smaller vehicles here, but still, so there's a reason for all that, and it ticks all the boxes of being a good people mover, but now it gets that extra little oomph of some cool styling and nice interior work, plus that smooth powertrain that maybe I shouldn't have worn a gray jacket. Maybe something brighter, something red or blue would have been better fit for the current Toyota Highlander. And maybe I should have put a platinum chain on too, because I'm in the platinum. No. Never mind. I've got a heads-up display that works even if I've got polarized shades on, and can be easily adjusted, and it's big. I've got the digital rear view mirror here. Like, it's got a lot of really good pieces that make the drive just that much more pleasurable. Again, I'm not gonna say exciting, but pleasurable. And in this segment, when you're moving families from place to place and going on road trips and stuff, let's be honest, folks, the need for a good driving car is never going to be quite as important as the need for a car that keeps you comfortable and happy and at ease. And the Highlander gets it. It gets it. I can't deny that of it. And now it's got the kind of the added layer of the nice, cool looks, great interior, and so on, especially at platinum spec. So there you have it. It's made less of a hater out of me. I'll put it to you that way for sure. So that's the review of the 2020 Toyota Highlander for now. If you're watching on YouTube and haven't yet subscribed, please do. If not, no hard feelings. You can follow me on Twitter at DanTheWheelman and on Instagram at DanTheWheelman as well. And please tune in next week when I'm in another SUV, but one that's a bit different. It's 2 rows instead of 3. It's German and not Japanese, and kind of giving it away here. It's got one of the coolest, trickiest suspension kind of, I guess, systems or party tricks, is the best way to put it, that I've ever seen in a showroom spec vehicle. So I hope that doesn't give too much away, and I hope to see you guys next week. So until then, again, no hat. Sayonara, folks.